5 minutes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, and looking forward to your comments and your perspective. So,
The mic's not on.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. I would first like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Piscataway Indian Nation, an indigenous tribe. My name is Nadia Nazar. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a junior in high school in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm an artist and environmentalist. I've dedicated my time and efforts to the community and animals on this planet since I was 12 years old. I am a founder of the youth-led climate organization 0 Hour. We say this is 0 Hour because this is 0 Hour to act on climate change. In fact, 0 Hour will soon launch a nationwide campaign for youth to educate their peers about climate justice. Climate change has already impacted my future. Scientists say we will be at irreversible climate chaos by the year 2030 if we don't drastically reduce our emissions right now. I will be 28 years old in 2030. Our world is already experiencing the impacts of global warming, and living conditions will only get closer and closer to the extremes. Humanity has pushed this planet to the edge, and from my view, it seems that few in the policy and political world are paying attention to the consequences of our actions over the generations. The climate crisis exasperates problems that are already prevalent, especially in developing nations. Clean water, a vital element to life, is becoming even more scarce. Extreme weather and natural disasters are now the norm, creating new crises against vulnerable populations. The U.S. is historically the largest emitter of greenhouse gases, but those who are facing the most severe consequences are the people in developing countries and those in lower-income communities. People in poverty have less access to resources needed to survive when climate extremes take place. Marine life, such as sea turtles and whales and other species, are facing a mass extinction because of the warmer ocean waters that we humans have caused. My community in Baltimore depends on the Chesapeake Bay. These warming waters will not only harm future generations of my community, but it will also harm generations around the world that rely on bodies of water for their livelihoods. It seems here in Washington, the policymakers have for far too long put the interests of fossil fuel corporations and other carbon-emitting industries over the health and prosperity of the people, the wildlife, and this planet. The lives of my generation have been disregarded for far too long. You should put the interests of your future generations first, not just because it is the right thing to do, but because many of us have the right to vote in just a couple of years. We care about clean air and clean water, and we'll be voting for those who want to address climate change head on. Some of my friends say they don't want to have children because they're worried about the kind of lives they would have to live on a warming planet. In the future, asthma rates will be higher, there will be less access to food, and more extreme natural disasters and weather will occur, all due to climate change. Climate change not only threatens the future of my generation, but it continues to displace and kill people. My family in Kerala, India, experienced the floods that occurred there this past summer. These floods displaced approximately 800,000 people and killed 483 people. Around the same time, my friends in Ellicott City, Maryland, experienced floods that caused landslides and infrastructural damage in a historical city. Climate change has been happening. Climate change is happening. Climate change will continue to happen. Climate change is my future unless you do something about it right now. My generation includes your children and your grandchildren. I see climate change as an issue that connects everyone and everything on our planet. This is not just about changes in the weather. It's about these changes that will impact and harm populations all around the world. If there's no food because plants can't grow due to extreme drought, that can cause war. And the most vulnerable populations oppressed by racism, the patriarchy, colonialism, and more will be the ones who suffer. These are the people who are so often left out of conversations about the quality of the air and water, about energy, and about how we treat this land. We at 0 Hour believe that not only the voices of the nation's youth have been ignored, but others as well. Women, people of color, indigenous communities, and some of our most vulnerable populations. How can we progress towards an equal and equitable society of justice if we can't listen to those who make up our country? I believe that everyone must work together, united and with compassion on this issue. Those who hold the most power and influence in our society should work with those working in our local communities. I ask of you, Congress, to work with the grassroots climate movement, including the youth, and listen to them in order to bring sustainable change swiftly in time for my generation and I to be able to enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you.